The Apollo 11 mission, which in 1969 sent astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins to the moon, has been the subject of conspiracy theories for decades. These theories suggest that the moon landing was faked. Here are the main controversial theories and the evidence often cited by proponents. 1. The waving flag theory. Critics argue that the American flag appears to flutter as if blown by wind, which should be impossible in the vacuum of the moon. NASA explained that the flag was rigged with a horizontal rod to keep it extended, and the rippling appearance was due to movement from being planted in the lunar soil. Additionally, the flag's movement persisted momentarily due to the lack of atmospheric drag to slow it down. 2. No stars visible in the photos. Many point out that none of the Apollo mission photographs show stars in the sky. They argue that in the dark, star-studded backdrop of space, stars should be visible. Photographic experts note that the camera settings used to capture the bright surface of the moon would not pick up the relatively dim light of stars. This is similar to taking a photo of a brightly lit cityscape at night where stars are often not visible. 3. The shadow anomalies. Skeptics claim that shadows in the photos point in different directions, suggesting multiple light sources were used, implying that the scenes were staged in a studio. The uneven lunar terrain can cause shadows to fall at different angles, which can create an illusion of multiple light sources. Additionally, sunlight reflecting off the lunar surface can alter shadow behavior. The sea rock. In one of the photos, a rock appears to have the letter C on it, which conspiracy theorists argue could be a prop label mistakenly left in the shot. This claim was debunked as the result of a photographic anomaly or hair that might have been present on the photo during printing. The original image does not show any such marking. Van Allen radiation belts. Detractors argue that astronauts passing through the Van Allen radiation belts would have been exposed to lethal doses of radiation. NASA and experts explain that the Apollo missions planned their trajectories to minimize exposure, and the spacecraft's design and short duration of exposure meant astronauts were not subjected to dangerous levels of radiation. Lack of a blast crater. Photos of the lunar module show no blast crater or disturbed lunar dust beneath it, leading some to believe the landing was staged. The moon's gravity is much weaker than Earth's, so the thrust required for landing was relatively low. The lunar surface is also compacted rock, and the exhaust from the engine would have dispersed in a vacuum without creating a traditional crater. 7. Identical backgrounds. Some images from different Apollo missions appear to have identical backgrounds, suggesting they were filmed in the same location on Earth. However, the moon's horizon is closer and more uniform than Earth's due to its smaller size, so distant hills and craters can appear very similar from different angles or locations. 8. Reflections in visors. Conspiracy theorists have pointed out that reflections in the astronauts' visors show stage lights or objects not present on the moon. But, upon close inspection, these reflections have been identified as equipment and other astronauts. The unique reflections are explained by the reflective, convex nature of the visors. 9. Lost original footage. The original high-quality tapes of the Apollo 11 moonwalk were lost by NASA, which has fueled suspicions that the footage was never genuine. While the original recordings were misplaced, restored footage from other sources and live broadcasts have been studied and authenticated multiple times. The loss was attributed to storage mismanagement. Some believe that famed director Stanley Kubrick was hired by NASA to film the fake moon landing. This theory stems from his pioneering visual effects work on the film. However, there is no credible evidence linking Kubrick to the Apollo program. His family and colleagues have denied these claims, and the logistics of a massive cover-up involving thousands of engineers, scientists, and workers would be improbable to maintain for decades without leaks. Over 800 pounds of moon rock were collected and studied by scientists around the world, containing unique isotopic properties not found on Earth. Observatories and amateur radio operators tracked the Apollo missions, providing third-party verification of their routes and communications. Analysis of the images and video by experts has validated the authenticity of the materials, including lighting, shadows, and mechanical engineering consistent with known physics. While the Apollo 11 mission has been a target for skeptics and theorists, substantial scientific, photographic, and testimonial evidence strongly supports that the moon landing did indeed happen. Some conspiracy theorists argue that there was a brief interruption in the live transmission from the moon during the Apollo 11 mission. During this blackout period, they believe that astronauts encountered unidentified structures or beings on the moon. Supporters of this theory often reference claims by former NASA employees or whistleblowers who alleged that communications were switched to a secret channel during this time. However, these claims are largely anecdotal and not supported by official records. NASA has explained that any gaps in transmission were due to technical difficulties or normal handoffs between tracking stations. There is no documented evidence that indicates any unexpected encounters during these periods. Astronaut testimonies and alleged leaks. Some individuals claim that Apollo astronauts hinted at or directly spoke about encountering alien life or strange structures on the moon after their missions. A popular quote attributed to Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin states that there were other ships watching them on the moon. These claims are based on stories circulating in UFO enthusiast communities and books by conspiracy authors. Some quotes are said to be misattributed or taken out of context. Aldrin, for example, has spoken about seeing a light that appeared to move with the spacecraft, but was later identified as a piece of the spacecraft itself. Armstrong, Aldrin, and other Apollo astronauts have never publicly confirmed these stories. NASA and the astronauts have repeatedly stated that they did not encounter any evidence of alien life during their missions. Structures and anomalies in lunar photos. Certain images from lunar missions are said to show artificial structures such as domes, towers, and other architectural shapes. This has led some to believe that extraterrestrial civilizations might have built these structures, or that NASA has airbrushed such features out of publicly released photos. Proponents cite photographs and videos that seem to show odd shapes or shadows on the lunar surface, interpreted as alien bases or artifacts. Most experts agree that these anomalies can be explained by natural geological formations, the play of light and shadow, and image artifacts. The moon's surface is full of strange, jagged rocks, craters, and formations that can create optical illusions. Statements from former NASA employees and military personnel. Some former NASA and military personnel have claimed to have seen or been aware of evidence suggesting the presence of extraterrestrial beings or structures on the moon. Individuals like Maurice Chatelain, a former NASA communications engineer, and others have made statements that seem to imply NASA's awareness of aliens. Chatelain once claimed that Armstrong had seen two large mysterious objects on the rim of a crater during Apollo 11. These claims lack substantial documentation or corroboration. Critics argue that many of these stories have emerged from sources with unverifiable credentials or without any supporting evidence. The secret Apollo missions and Project Horizon. Some believe that after the public Apollo missions, NASA continued secret missions to the Moon, sometimes called Apollo 18, 19, and 20, to explore alien ruins or investigate mysterious phenomena. Theories of secret missions are largely fueled by films and speculative documentaries, along with fake or edited footage circulating on the internet. However, there is no credible evidence to support the existence of these alleged missions. All known Apollo missions and their outcomes are well documented. Project Horizon, a proposed US military base on the Moon, never moved beyond early concept stages. Alleged UFO sightings during Apollo missions. UFO enthusiasts often point to Apollo 11, as well as other Apollo missions, claiming that astronauts reported seeing UFOs. Some claim that NASA cut the live feed during these sightings to avoid broadcasting such encounters. Recordings and conversations from the Apollo missions occasionally mention unidentified objects or lights seen by astronauts. These objects were often later explained as space debris, reflections, or other known phenomena. NASA has consistently stated that no evidence of extraterrestrial activity was encountered. The term UFO simply refers to any unidentified object, not necessarily an extraterrestrial craft, and most sightings have been explained by natural or man-made phenomena. The Moon as a base for alien observation. Some speculate that the Moon serves as a base for extraterrestrials observing Earth. This theory draws from ancient astronaut hypotheses and claims of structures on the dark side of the Moon that are not visible from Earth. The dark side of the Moon, also known as the far side, was not photographed in detail until the Soviet Lunar 3 mission in 1959. Which fueled speculation about hidden bases or structures. More detailed imagery from subsequent missions has shown it to be similar to the near side, with no artificial structures found. The far side of the Moon has been extensively mapped by subsequent space missions, revealing no evidence of extraterrestrial structures or activity. While the idea of aliens on the Moon is intriguing and makes for fascinating stories, there is no concrete evidence to support these theories. The claims are largely based on anecdotal accounts, misinterpretations of photographic evidence, and stories that lack corroboration. NASA and the scientific community maintain that no alien activity has ever been discovered during Moon missions, and any breaks or inconsistencies in transmissions can be attributed to known technical or procedural reasons. What if everything you knew about the Moon was a carefully curated narrative? What if the Moon is not a barren, lifeless rock, but a monument to a forgotten story? Our story. In the 2022 sci-fi blockbuster Moonfall, directed by Roland Emmerich, we are thrust into a reality where the Moon is not just a natural satellite, but a colossal, man-made megastructure, and beneath its cratered surface, a hidden, dark truth, a technological marvel built by an advanced, ancient civilization. The movie proposes that humanity is part of a cycle, a loop of creation and destruction, with our ancestors being the architects of the Moon itself. They built it as an ark, a sanctuary, and a testament to their ingenuity. A last-ditch effort to save life as they knew it from an artificial intelligence gone rogue. But is this just science fiction? Or is there more to the story than we've been led to believe? Consider the hollow moon hypothesis, a theory that suggests the Moon is not a solid celestial body, but a structure with vast cavernous spaces within. Proponents argue that the Moon's density and seismic readings hint at a hollow core. How else could it produce the ringing effect observed during seismic experiments conducted by the Apollo missions? When struck, the Moon reverberated like a bell, as if hiding a metallic core beneath layers of rock. Ancient cultures, from the Sumerians to the Greeks, wrote of a time before the Moon. Was the moon placed in orbit not as a natural consequence of cosmic events, but as an intentional act by an ancient race, perhaps one we are directly descended from? Skeptics dismiss these theories as pseudoscience, noting the moon's similarities to other natural satellites in our solar system. But if we push aside conventional thinking, even for a moment, what would it mean if the moon was indeed a creation? Not a celestial accident, but a signal left by ancient engineers to remind us that we are not the first iteration of intelligent beings on this planet. Let's revisit the evidence anomalies on the moon's surface that seem to defy natural geological formations. Sudden unexplained breaks in Apollo 11's live transmission and reports of strange structures detected on the far side of the moon. Coincidences or carefully buried clues? The moon has been a silent witness to our history, the tides, and the rise and fall of civilizations. But what if it is more than just a witness? What if it is the greatest relic of human history, placed right above our heads, watching and waiting for us to unlock its secrets? Maybe the truth is out there, hiding in plain sight, asking us to look up and question. Because when it comes to the moon and us, there may be more than meets the eye.